One often overlooked aspect of running a company and creating a career is checking in with how you actually feel day to day. And it's so easy to put your head down and be in tunnel vision and not consider what is my personal experience like as I'm running this business. And I've seen people who have created massive success, but did so through this very painful struggle where every day was difficult, and their perception about what it is that they were doing and what it is that they were creating was that it was all about the grind, and they were paying the price to get to some distant outcome that they were trying to achieve. But we can start to use a different metric of success. What if one of the KPIs that you start to track in your day-to-day business, in your day-to-day life, is how excited are you feeling every day? How much experience of flow are you feeling every day? And if you start to tune into that and start paying attention, you might be surprised at what you find. The reality is things are going to happen, good and bad, or being perceived as good and bad in your business. But that doesn't mean that necessarily you need to feel good and bad, just like the signals that you're picking up from your company. And I remember running a business where in the early days of running the business, every single hour, it felt like there was an up and then there was a down. And then over time, as I started to work on my own relationship to identifying with the business, to identifying with what it is that I did, I was able to start to separate a little bit more of who I was versus how my business was performing. That meant that now every other day would be either a good day or a bad day based on the information I was getting, the emails I was getting, the wins, the losses. And then over time, as that opened up even further, suddenly it was every few days I would have a day that was really down, but then have a few days that were going great. And that starts to spread out over time as you start to recognize that how you feel doesn't really always correlate with what's going on. It correlates with how you feel about what's going on. It correlates with your perception about what certain things mean in your career or in your business. Part of the big aim of maturing into our work, maturing as a business owner, as a leader, is starting to separate what happens day to day from your identity, from who you believe you are as a person. And so if the business does poorly and you think you're a poor person or a bad person, you're always going to be on that roller coaster. So this is all about getting some space. It's all about starting to begin to see yourself as more than a business owner. And we all attach to this label. We all, as an entrepreneur, you think, I'm an entrepreneur. And some people feel I was born to be an entrepreneur. And the reality is we maybe have some genius in us that is being expressed through being an entrepreneur, through the current company that you're working in. But I've worked with enough founders to tell you that these companies that sometimes may last a decade or more, also sometimes may only last 5 years or 7 years. And so when people really cling tightly to their business as their identity, the unfortunate thing is there's going to be a cycle where that is no longer going to be the case. And how will you respond in that moment? And maybe more importantly, to the beginning of this audio and podcast and video, how are you going to respond day to day? And what is that going to do to your mental health if you're constantly riding the roller coaster of the ups and downs of your business? So check in today and just see, how am I feeling? What's my experience like? Am I excited? How often am I feeling flow, excitement, passion? And am I able to start experiencing that regardless of the outcomes or even the data points that I'm always getting back from the market? Am I able to start letting my own experience of joy overflow such that even when things happen that are a bit stressful, I'm able to navigate them from a place of freedom and power and control? And I think everyone would want to feel that way. It's just a process of creating space and letting go and widening your identity. So I will create some more videos in the future on this topic around how to do that. But I wanted to introduce that idea today. What do you think about it? Any thoughts, comments as an entrepreneur, creator? What's your experience like? I'd love to hear from you. As always, be back again very soon. Later.